Hello, everybody, and welcome back, all you Biconics and wrestling nerds out there. And welcome back to another Los Chicos Gordos review, your favorite review team, as myself and my lovely co-host, as always, Will, are here to review another episode of NXT, this time for Tuesday, December 5th, 2023. And what makes this particular show very interesting is that this is the go-home show before Deadline, which is, at the time of this recording, in a couple of days. I was like, all right, cool. NXT, I was like, oh, okay, it's the go-home show. It's like, it's Sunday, right? Looks at calendar. Oh, no, never mind. It is a Saturday pay-per-view. I don't know if you can tell, Will. I'm just like, there's a lot going on because... For all the watchers out there, me and Will are going to be busy this weekend because we also are covering Final Resolution for Impact.
Yep.
But that's going to be a future problem. But as I said, this was the go-home show for NXT this week as we have Deadline, so let's just jump into it.
Indeed.
NXT didn't waste no time this week because we opened up with the last chance qualifier for the women for the Iron Survivor Challenge. This time, we had all of the women who did not qualify in their original matches, and the women are given one more shot to make it into Deadline's Iron Survivor Challenge, and we saw Kiana James versus Roxanne Perez versus Fallon Henley versus Thea Hale. And I'm gonna be honest, Will, NXT started off with a banger. Like this match ruled on so many levels. These women were not playing around.
I agree. It was so funny because at first I was like, oh, it really kind of like abruptly started. I was like, oh, there's no build up, no anything. But then it was like, bang, and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't need any build up. I'm good to go. Let's keep watching this because these women were fierce. And I knew, and when I saw the lineup, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a badass match with all these women, because it's like all these. I love every one of them, and I'm like, yes. So I was very excited.
All four of these women, I was like, why couldn't we have these four in for the Iron Survivor Challenge? Because I thought these four plus one more would have been great, but I get it. And I don't know why we got it, but Roxanne and Kiana, like, going through the table together when they jumped off the barricade, I was like, oh my gosh. I'm gonna be honest, no shade. I love Fallon Henley, but I was very surprised to see her pick up the victory here because as soon as Roxanne and Kiana knocked themselves out of the running, I was like, okay. So I was like, oh, okay, so we're going to get Thea winning, right? Nope, because Thea tries to go for the win, but Fallon Henley ducks out of the way and rolls her up for the win. So Fallon Henley is the final woman to make it into the Iron Survivor Challenge for the women. So Fallon Henley has punched her ticket to Deadline.
Yeah, I didn't really understand that one. I mean, bang on, girl, if you get it. But I was just like, I was a little surprised, a little thrown off when Roxanne and Kiana were like, when they basically outed each other, and I was just like, okay. And then I was like, well, Thea, because I love me some Thea, but I was like, Thea's not ready yet, I don't think. So that's why I was like, surely they're not going to have Thea win this match. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then Fallon won it, and I was just sort of like, would that have been my choice? No, probably not. But okay. I guess we're going to see.
If I was going to pick, my money was on Roxanne only because, if we're mirroring the men a little bit, Roxanne, even though she was in the match last year, she won the whole thing. She won the Iron Survivor Challenge last year. So having her there, I figured it wouldn't hurt to have Roxanne there because looking at the field that we do have, you want someone who is I don't want to say more professional because that's the wrong word, but someone who's already been through it, is seasoned, and I feel like would better carry the women through this 30-minute match that we're about to see at Deadline. But again, I love Fallon. I also would have I wouldn't have mind seeing Thea, only because literally earlier this year we got Thea in contention to become NXT Women's Champion, and I feel like Thea has kind of proved herself a little bit, but I love Fallon, and we'll see how she fits in, because we're going to talk about her and the other women participants, because I have some words about that segment we got with them, and that was, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was odd. It was a great match. It was a great match. I was a little shocked with the outcome of it. Okay.
I was too, but I was like, this is a pretty good way to open up.
I agree. I wasn't necessarily disappointed in it. It was just sort of like, oh, that was a choice.
That's exactly how I felt about choices.
Yeah, that's what remember I told y'all the message, like, well, choices were made.
I love it so much. But this will not be the last we will talk about Fallon, because we're going to talk about her and all of the women's participants, because I think me and Will may disagree when it comes. Who knows? We may agree. So we're going to wait to get there, because I have lots of thoughts and feelings about that. Speaking of thoughts and feelings, really quickly, backstage, Lyra Valkyria is giving an interview. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot she's not defending her title at the pay-per-view. I was like, oh, okay. Again, this is the second week in a row where we get an interview where Lyra hypes up like whoever her next challenger is. She's going to be ready for them. Cool.
Yeah. Is it just me, or does she look completely different? Like, she looks more glamorized.
I think she looks well rested.
I think yes, but she looks super, like, I don't know what the word is, but she looks super artificial almost. Like, if you took a picture of her from like right before she won the title and now,
it's different.
Which I did. I was like, wow. She looks great. Don't get me wrong, but for a split moment, I didn't know who it was. I literally was like, who is this? Oh my god. I was like, oh, Lyra. I honestly, I was just like,
oops.
What is going on with this? And I had to study it for a moment. And then that's when I was like, let me go back and look, because something doesn't look right here. It's like,
in the words
in
the words of Sesame Street, one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, it was, literally, I was like, who is that? And then when I heard the name, I was like, I had to get close to the screen, because I was like, is my eyesight going out? What's going on? So I don't know. It was just really weird. Whatever. I love me some Lyra. I don't care what she looks like, but I was just like, it was something different. She looked great. I was just like, what's going on here? So, yeah. I'm going to be very random through this whole episode, because I hyper focus on the most random,
weirdest things.
The most weird. There's a whole. Yeah, it's coming.
All right, so I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of happy that NXT got this next part out of the way earlier in the show than in the later part of the show, but this still hurts nonetheless.
Yeah.
So, all right. So normally here at the NXT review, we try not to be too serious half the time, but we're going to treat this next segment with the respect it deserves, because this was really tough for us to watch. So,
yep.
Wesley makes his way down the ring. Prior to this, we did see a little bit backstage segments of him coming down through the backstage area. And before we cut to commercial, we hear Booker T and Vic Joseph comment on the crutch that Wesley is using, and Booker T says that can't be good before we get cut to commercial. And then when we get back from commercial, Wesley is in the ring, and essentially Wesley just gets real and raw with the audience in the arena as well as us at home, and he lets us know that essentially he can't feel anything in his legs. And after consulting with doctors and the medical staff, in order to make sure that Wesley has longevity and he can feel again, it's going to require major surgery. And thus, he's going to be out for 8 to 12 months. And even before he said what he was about to say next, my heart sank and I was hurting for my boy. I wasn't even disappointed that, he wasn't going to be at Deadline, because at that point I was not concerned. But you could tell that Wes really, really hates that he has to miss. And I feel for my baby so much.
Oh, there were tears running down his cheeks. I was like, oh God. Oh God. Yeah. It started for me when in the backstage segment. And I was like watching, and there had that little moment, and then when they separated, and he turned and he grabbed the crutch, and I was like, what the hell is that? Wait, whoa. That's when I was thinking, I was like, what happened? Oh my God! I was like, and then when he came out, when he was in the ring, and thank God, they did not show him trying to get into the ring, because it would have killed me. It would have absolutely killed me, and then he made his, and I felt it coming. I was like, oh shit. But I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what happened. And then later on, I went and did some digging. But yeah, he's going to have major back surgery. And I'm just like, oh my God, how old is he?
You know what?
He is not old.
Here, let me look this up while we're talking about it.
Because I was like, when they were talking about major back surgery and it seems like it might be like spinal nerve related, which is like serious, like back surgery. And
this hurts my heart. Baby's 29 years old.
See, and look at that. And I wonder if he's got I wonder if it's impacted discs. At 29, man.
The sound of that that's a shiver.
I'll probably have to put either pins or spacers in. And that's a good year. You're out, because you got all the physical therapy, things of that. Plus, there's a chance of paralysis. I mean, it's scary. So I was literally like, oh my God. Because I was so, and maybe it's selfish of me, because I was so excited to have him back and to get back into the fray and become become a major contender, because he wanted it. He wants it bad. And then this just devastating to me as a fan and a watcher. I was just like, man, it took the breath out of me. Oh,
this was really rough to watch, in the sense that I can feel the hurt emanating from my television screen as Wes was addressing, what's been going down. And major back surgery for such a. I mean, he's not like 18 doing this, but even still, 29,
young.
Exactly,
super young. I mean, coming from a 53-year-old, I mean, that's really young. Yeah.
No, I mean, it puts things in perspective, because I'm 30 years old. I'm not that much older than Wes, and I can't even imagine having to do something this major at this stage of your life, and even at this stage of your career, because Wes still has so much more to give to this business, and you could tell that missing all this time is going to. He was just devastated. There's no other words, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You could tell how much he loves this business and how much it hurts him to say that he has to miss for almost a year or so.
It could be longer.
It could, depending on how recovery goes. It might be shorter, it might be longer. But before we get into the second half, I do want to say, Wes, I don't know if you watch this, but if you find this little video, please know myself and Will wish you nothing but a speedy recovery. We're huge fans of yours. We think you're one of our favorites here on NXT. and we wish you nothing but beautiful things and a speedy recovery. And Mrs. Wesley, I know you're gonna take care of our baby until he comes back to us. So,
Yep. I need to get a Wesley shirt.
oh, for sure, definitely.
You know,
Continue to support our boy.
poor boy. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, and you know what? What happens next? I actually don't blame anyone because they have to. They gotta continue the story, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you know what? I gotta give kudos to Dominic here, as weird as it is to say, because he could feel the tension in the air, so he was still a heel. But even the things that he said, it wasn't outright disrespectful, or if it wasn't rude, because he's like, all right, let me be a heel, but let me not say something that's like really out of pocket here. So Dominic comes out as soon as Wes is done cutting this real promo. I did get a chuckle out of it because I was like, I get you, Dominic. Like, I actually like that. Dominic's just like, bro, my back hurts too. I've been carrying WWE for the last 2 years. I was like, you're such a little turd, but I'm here for it. I do appreciate that Dominic walked into the ring. He didn't make Wes come to him. He came to Wes, and they're in the ring face to face. And essentially, Dominic's like, well, since you're out at deadline, then me and mommy are just going to chill. We're not going to have to do anything. It's like that one kid in the group project, like, who's not going to do anything. So you tell him that, you know, you did all the work, and so now he's not going to show up to the house, like, on the weekend to finish the project because you finished it. And it's like, all right, well, I'm going to go chill. Thanks for all the hard work. We did great when he did nothing. So Dominic's like, yo, I'm out scot-free. But Wes is like, bro, just because I'm out doesn't mean you get a free pass. And then on the Titantron, we see Dominic's dad, Rey Mysterio, cut this video promo stating that just because Wes is out at deadline, Dominic is still going to be defending that title. And Rey is going to be there at deadline because he's going to be in the corner of Dominic's new challenger, Dragon Lee, for this championship match. And I have to admit, I was like, we already done this song and dance before with Dragon Lee versus Dominic, but given the circumstances, I'm okay with it. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't know what's gonna happen with this match, because now it went from before where it's like, oh, Wes is definitely taking it off of Dominic, to now I'm just like, this is 50-50, because on the one hand, I can see Dominic holding on to it for a little bit longer, but I can also see NXT giving it to Dragon Lee as a transitional championship until we figure out what we're doing, because obviously with Wes having to be out for a year is going to throw everything for a loop in terms of plans.
You know, I could see them taking the title off of Dom, and then like Dom taking it back. I mean, I could see them do it and kind of keep that sort of that happening, and then until Wes can come back. I agree with you. I don't know where to go with this one, because I was like, oh, you know, I was like, ouch, Daddy's like just slapped you in public, and just like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna be there supporting you. I'm gonna be supporting this other dude. I'm just like, ouch. That hurt me. I was just like,
right. What made this even better though is that as soon as that video packet switched over, like Dominic and Dragon Lee kind of get into it, and Dominic gets beat up and exits the ring with Dragon Lee holding the title as the segment ends. I'm just like, okay, I'm 50-50 now. Yep. Either way, honestly, I'd be okay, because, like, yeah, if I figured, I was like, Wes was probably going to take the title off of Dominic at deadline and get it back, because that's what we've been building to. But because Wes is out and we're literally days away from deadline, we had to figure something. I swear this North American title is cursed, because remember, we were supposed to get Ali versus Dominic, and then he got released. Then we had last minute, it became Trick versus Dominic. Yep. Which, so we gotta, hopefully, as Wes heals up, we'll see where the North American Championship story goes. We'll talk about our picks for deadline, which we will give at the end of the show. So this is gonna be interesting. But ultimately, Wesley, we hope a speedy recovery for you. And,
Yep.
we love you. And
Be safe.
Yeah. All right. So I got through that without crying. So I'm proud of myself. So from here, anything that superseded what we were going to get, I was like, all right, NXT is going to try to keep it back on track because that was very powerful and emotional. So we quickly get a video package that shows us the participants for the men's breakout tournament, which is going to be starting next week. The only person that we kind of recognize is Miles, who is part of, Damon Kemp and Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey's little group. But I appreciate that the other men, I was like, these are all brand new kids. And so I'm really excited. I was really, really excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, we got a second Native American wrestler.
Yeah.
I was just like, and this sounds really bad when you say it out loud with no context, but I was just like, yo, NXT is out here picking up Native American wrestlers. We have Eddie Thorpe, and then we have one of the NXT breakout men who is also Native American. I was just like, all the sexy people in this.
Absolutely. I was like, and I think honestly and truly, most of them were POCs of some sort.
Yes.
For the most part.
I love it. I was just like, yo, check out this diversity out here. Good job, NXT.
Great. Yeah, I was like, NXT, good for you guys. I was like super excited. I think I was even messaging Mikey about it when I saw the new Native American. I remember his name off the top of my head, but I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh, he's cute.
I'm like, it doesn't hurt that he's also cute, but
yeah.
Again, I agree with you. Outside of Miles, like most of the tournament is, POC men's wrestlers, and I'm like, I'm here for it. This is gonna be so much fun. So from here, we get a quick singles match because this match didn't go on for long. We have Lola Vice taking on Tatum Paxley. Again, this match for me personally, I feel like serves just to keep Lola looking strong and booking her until she cashes in her contract for winning the women's breakout tournament. So I thought this was a fine match. It served its purpose. It didn't go for too long. Lola's kicks make me clutch my pearls because I'm like, her kicks are vicious, man. I'm like, someone is about to get a concussion.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a good match, but it was short and it served its purpose. Which is to keep Lola relevant.
Right.
Which is perfectly fine with me. I enjoy watching Lola. So I was like, win-win.
Honestly. So these next two, again, there's a lot of backstage stuff today because, we're trying to build towards, deadline. So first we get Baron Corbin give a quick backstage segment. We won't spend too long. So he basically, this is basically building up to our main segment, which we're going to get at the very end. But you know what? He's going to go out there. He's going to talk to Ilya and, Baron's just out here to get Ilya mad is essentially what his mission is. And in a certain amount of words or less, that's what he says in this little backstage segment. So then we get part one of the juicy gossip like we're in high school because NXT Anonymous shows this like black and white video of Carmelo and Trick talking. And as soon as Trick leaves, we see Carmelo on the phone texting somebody. And I love that Booker T and Vic Joseph are like stirring their pot. They're like, who is he texting? Maybe he was tipping off Lexis King. I'm like, you guys are like playing your hand really hard with this one. I mean, eventually that's probably the inevitable conclusion, but I was like, dang, you guys, like there's no mystery to it.
Yeah, I know. Either that or they're pumping that so hard that we're like, yeah, Lexis King, and then ends up not being him. It's one of those. It's like, are they truly playing their hand, or are they like, is it total subterfuge? Because I can see it going both ways.
Honestly, I'm just like, well, I mean, I think the storyline is going to be continuing into the new year, so we'll see. I think the storyline is going to carry over, and we're going to get the blow-off match at Stand and Deliver in April. I think that's where Carmelo and Trick go one-on-one. is on the
So
the
here for
biggest
that.
the biggest NXT pay-per-view of the year at Stand and Deliver.
I'm so here for them. I've been wanting that match forever.
And so far, the build to it has been really, really good because Trick has become a star, Carmelo has become the Jealous X, and the story writes itself, and it's been a fun time so far.
Yep.
Speaking of fun times, I'm gonna be honest, this next match, though, is probably my match of the night for a variety of reasons.
Yes,
it is our mixed 6-man tag team match of Alpha Academy being represented by Chad Gable, Maxine Dupree, and Otis, taking on Metaphor, which is being represented by Noam Dar, Ora Mensa, and Lash Legend. This match was silly, it was goofy, and I was blown away by the pure athleticism by the women, if I'm being completely honest.
Absolutely.
The women were the MVP for me in this match. Maxine jumping off of Chad Gable's shoulders to do that dive, but the move of the night goes to Miss Lash Legend. As Otis was coming towards her, she picked him up and did a stalling body slam of this 300-something pound big boy in Otis. I was like, listen, I don't pull this out that often, but as I was watching this, I gave Lash the gay finger wave. I was like, yes.
Because, I mean, she did not only pick this man up, but she held him there. As if he were nothing. She was just like, "Rah!" And I was just like, I think, what is it? I sent you in the text. I was like, holy fuck. Because I was just like, and then she slammed him. And I was just like, I was speechless after that. I was like, I had to pause it and sit back for a second. Because I was just like, did that just happen? I think that just happened. That was legit. That she picked him up. That big old boy. She picked him up, held him for a moment, and then slammed him down. And I was like, that one moment made this match my match of the night. That one moment, and because, I mean, you're right. The women were on it, man. They were athletes in this match. And it was so funny as well. I mean, when Lash came out there with Otis and he started to do the gyrating, she's like, and I was like, love you so much. Love you. God, it was such a good, this one was my match as well.
Of course, we had some great athleticism from, the boys as well doing their thing. But the women came in clutch.
Yeah.
Again, to me, this is a perfect example of how you do a good wrestling match, but also have a good comedic bits.
Yeah.
And know how to pull a swerve, as the kids are saying. Lash Legend slamming Otis to the ground in the way she did, I was just like, girl, okay, I'm kind of rooting for you now in the Iron Survivor, just from this one moment alone. I also loved it as Lash went to go dive, Otis caught her, and she's like, get away, She's like, oh no.
I know, it was so fun. Oh, it was such a good match. It was so funny. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you had everything in this one. You had technique, mechanics, you had humor, and athleticism, and camaraderie, and teamwork, and I mean, it had everything. And it really did. It had absolutely everything, and it was so good. So
and
good.
even more surprising, Alpha Academy picks up the victory here. I was like, ooh, I hope this feud's not over, because I kind of want to see them keep going at it for a little bit longer.
Me too. I kind of figured this might be the outcome of this match because I was like, okay, Noam's been holding on, and I love me some Noam Dar, I do, and I love me some Metaphor, but I think it just started to get to I think they were starting to plateau, and there was nowhere for them to go anymore. So I think it's like, well, if we take the titles, then they can go down and then come back up, because it's like now they've got a true rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think, now that we've got a true rivalry, because we never had, as long as I've been here, we've never had another 4-man or 4-person sort of team that would challenge them. And now we've got Alpha Academy, and there's 4-on-4. So it's like, this is fantastic. And it's, and I'm like, yeah, I'm here for it. Let's do it. Let's see where the shenanigans go, because I can feel them coming already.
Oh my goodness. This was my match of the night for all the reasons we've already stated. So
yes,
I cannot wait to see what the next chapter of this feud entails. So from here, we go backstage because we get two things. Out of nowhere, our lovable himbos, as we have called them before, Hank and Tank are chilling backstage, and they're like, bro, we need some competition. So literally, we're going to get Hank and Tank versus the Gallus Boys all of a sudden next week. I was like, that is a lot of meat in this ring.
Wow, yeah.
And I'm not going to complain. I'm just saying.
Not at all. It's a lot of yumminess.
Seriously, I was like, that is a lot of meat in that ring. We're going to get the meat slappy meat match, which is WWE's been doing a lot of that lately, where we're getting a lot of meat in the ring and they're just slapping snot out of each other.
Love it.
From there, we get to two women that want to keep slapping the snot out of each other. So Kiana James is just walking into the medical bay, and she's like, bro, if I see Roxanne Perez, I'm gonna beat her up. And then literally Roxanne is like a couple beds away, and literally they go at it. And then, okay, so this was the weird part to me. All of a sudden, Ava Rain walks in. I was like, girl, where have you been? Like, randomly, she's like, you know what? We got to settle this. So we're going to figure this out. I'm going to go talk to Shawn Michaels. I'm like, girl, when did you become a backstage manager? Like, what happened? Like, what are we doing?
I know. Oh, my God.
I was just like, I mean, I'm here for her to be the women's advocate and to, like, make the women's matches. But I was like, girl, what happened? What are we doing? I need an explanation. But essentially, this leads us to Ava confirming that at Deadline, Kiana and Roxanne are going to go one-on-one in a steel cage match. I was like, yep. I was like, this is the feud ender of all feud enders. These girls have been going at it for the last couple months, so there can only be one way. Violence in a cage.
2 wrestlers enter, 1 wrestler leaves. Thunderdome.
Listen, I know people may or may not like the cage matches, but I was like, this is listen, I'm a sucker for a cage match, but even so, I think this is the right feud to have a cage match for, because these women have gone through everything else. I mean, we had the Devil's Playground match at Halloween Havoc between these two, and those two killed it with just like staying in the front area of the ring, really. That was one of my favorite matches at Halloween Havoc, but now we get a full-on cage. Excited to see Kiana. Listen, Kiana has been such a big improvement over the course of 2023, and this is going to be your first cage match, and I'm excited for it. And listen, since Roxanne has found her edge since summer, this is also perfect. I'm like, let this girl fight in a cage.
I agree. I am all there for it.
I'm so excited. This is going to be one hell of a match on Saturday. All right, let's just get this next one out of the way, because I thought this was the messiest segment that we had, and I feel like a lot of people missed cues here. So when we come back from commercial, we have all the women participating in the Iron Survivor Challenge for a summit. And I'm going to be honest, Will, this segment was kind of a train wreck.
It was ridiculous.
I think the only person who really got themselves over was Lash, and that was it. But I also feel that she got herself over, but I also feel like she was kind of the problem too. Because she
totally was.
She kept cutting people off at the wrong times. I was like, girl, we're missing our cues. But all the other women were having issues. I think the only one who did okay was probably Kalani. That was it. And Blair. Those were the only two I think did okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
this was a train wreck.
It was. It was like, what the hell is this? I mean, this is the one moment in this whole episode where I was just like, who planned this? Because, see, this is one of those things that's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. So we're going to have all of you on stage, okay? And I'm not going to give you any motivation, any blocking, or anything. I want you to do it organically. And when you never tell an actor to do things organically, because this is what happens. It is a train wreck. It was just like, I don't know really what the purpose of this segment was. I mean, I think I knew what the purpose was, but what came of it made no sense. Because we didn't really get anything. We didn't get any resolution of any kind. We didn't get...
No one really furthered their characters. Honestly, when we talk about this all the time, like, we joke about it off camera, but... So for the viewers who may not know, Will here is a theater professor, and I love hearing the stories of how he uses NXT to show his students, this is what good character development looks like versus not so great character development, as well as other tenets of the theater world. And as soon as I was watching this, the first thing that popped into my head was you, Will. I was like, oh, I can't wait for him to tell me one day when he shows this segment to his students.
Oh, I am going to.
About this is not how to do blocking. This is not how to do a segment with multiple people on a stage.
Nope.
And then, go ahead.
The funny thing about this is the way they should have done this, and can't believe I'm about to say this out loud, they should have done this beauty pageant style. They should have had them come out one at a time, or put them individually throughout the episode and talk to them individually, because this...
Do video promo packages.
Yeah, that's it. Don't... I know what the point was. I know what they were trying to do. But even the interviewer lost control of it. I was just like...
And then it devolved into, like, the cardinal sin that is... And in wrestling, I will say, because I know nothing about theater, and I don't claim to be. I let my theater people here at the Viconics talk about it. But from a wrestling standpoint, we get into the cardinal sin of wrestling. When you have multiple people in the ring and all hell, like you're losing control, we end the segment by everyone just fighting it out. And I was like, really? This is what we're doing? Fine.
Yeah, that's...
Normally, I love to see women fighting because,
Me too.
Women, listen, I'm messy. I love seeing women fighting.
Me too.
But this was not a way to end the segment. No. And I'm actually going to tie this in because this was not the last time we saw all these 5 women fighting, because it spilt over into what we were supposed to get next. We were supposed to get Axiom versus Nathan Frazier, and I was excited. I knew this match. I was excited because I was like, these boys are about to go flying everywhere. It's going to be fast paced. But no, we don't even get this match because then the women come back out and they start fighting still, and we don't even get the match. I was just like,
I was so
NXT, why are we being messy? Why are we depriving me of this match?
Yes, this whole bleed over. I mean,
not okay.
No, and if it was just to get this Axiom Nathan fight into the pay-per-view, this was a dumb way to do it.
Yeah,
we
literally could have had a backstage segment and be like, yo, bro, you want to fight? Yeah, let's put on a show. Okay, see you at Deadline. Bye.
Yeah, done. It was like they could have done it could have happened when they were talking. And they were like chit-chatting, like la 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 la, and as opposed to, hey, let's fight it out right now. It's like, you know what? Fine. Let's see. We'll see. I'll see you at Deadline, and we'll see who's right here. But I was just like, you got me excited about the match because I was like, yes. And the match started, and I'm like, yes, this is going. All right, cool. And then as the match started, I started to feel fake, and I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? This is not the Nathan and Axiom that I know. This is way too staged, quote unquote. And then I found out why. Because it was literally...
It was an extension to what we saw before this.
They needed something to be interrupted by the women being, irrational women.
I was going to say... Normally, I don't complain when women interrupt men's matches or men's segments because men have been doing it for ages.
Absolutely.
But this was the one time I was just like, I don't know if I was just like, I kind of feel bad for my boys here. I was just like, we were supposed to get this banger of a match, and then the train wreck was a train wreck from the segment before we got this match, and then we to continue to extend it into this match made me kind of mad. I was like, listen, I was just like, I'm glad we're getting it at the pay-per-view, but like this did not this segment and then the whole entire Summit did not need to happen because the men didn't do this. Like, if you're going to do something similar, you could have just followed what the men did, which we'll talk about them in a little bit.
Yeah.
But this
it was stupid. It was dumb.
Yeah, it was dumb. And we watch professional wrestling. We're allowed to say that.
Yeah, exactly. These, as I said before, choices were made. And in theater, there are no wrong choices, no bad choices. There are solid choices, and there are poor choices. Or weaker choices. We'll say weaker, because strong choices, weak choices. This was a weak choice.
I can't wait to hear the dissertation about it later.
It's like, good Lord, I should write a paper on it. I need to be published, so maybe I could do that.
Honestly, let's have the Biconics publish papers now in essays, because honestly,
this is ridiculous. This one was dumb. Literally, this was the dumbest thing. And and the thing that pissed me off about it is it made the women look dumb.
Mm-hmm.
It made them look like irrational women who can't control themselves. Now, look, as we said before, I love a good women's match. I like when the women are like, bitch, come on, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to grab your hair, and I'm going to take you down, and blah, 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 blah. But this made no sense. Other than they were all competing against each other, there was no reason for what happened. There was no reason for it. It felt forced, and then of course I think it just got away from them, because at that point, with no direction whatsoever, actors are just going to go and do their thing, and that's what was happening here. And it was like, you lost control of them, and then they carried it into the next segment, and I was just like, this is disrespectful to the performers that are trying to do the thing, even though, it was staged that way because they needed something for the irrational women's mob to interrupt something. And so they're like, oh, let's do that. And I'm just like, really? Those are the choices we made? I couldn't get behind this whole segment. I just couldn't do it. It made the women look stupid and inferior. Believe it or not, it actually made them look inferior, because it's like, the men don't do this. This is only for emotional women who can't control themselves. That's what I got from it. I don't know what the common viewer got from it, but I got from it, women are hyper emotional and can't be rational. That's what I got. And that's no bueno.
Yeah. This was, like you said, I think this was a poor choice of just everything that happened. And speaking of poor choices, but of the funny kind, so we literally had this whole so last week we had the press conference with Chase here with everybody, Andre Chase, like basically with Thea and JC and Duke. Or listen, I continue to say this and I'll say it again after this week. Poor Duke Hudson, he is the dumb golden retriever boy of the group. And God bless him. Listen, but Andre Chase holds the special assembly with the students where he's like, I embezzled funds. I was just like, damn. I was like, I love it when I called it. I was like, watch him embezzle funds. And then he announced that he embezzled funds last week.
And then gambled it all away.
I was like, sir, we have a gambling problem. Like, what happened?
Apparently, I guess he took a loan out from the family.
From a third party. I was just like, damn, man.
Which was the family.
I was like, you're in debt with Tony and them? Damn, Andre Chase, like, how bad was it?
Hundreds of thousands. Apparently.
What made me laugh about this whole segment too is that as Andre Chase is going through this and talking to the students, which includes Duke and them, there was only one thing I had a question about, because I was like, this is kind of coming out of left field, but the students are trying to figure out ways to raise money because they're on the college is now on academic probation. Like they can't afford to mess up. Like no, there's no financial aid for future students. I was like, damn, this is way too real. I was just like, I'm getting flashbacks of like my undergrad program. I was just like,
Yeah.
going broke to get this degree out here.
Yep.
I was just like, I was just like, PTSD. I'm like,
I know. Trauma.
so as the students are trying to figure out ways, I love that Duke mentions they should do a bake sale. I'm like, oh, you poor golden retriever boy. I was like, you are so dumb, but I love you so much.
Wait, no, it wasn't him that suggested it. It was one of the other kids.
That's right.
Yeah,
But
so
again,
he's like, hey, what about a bake sale? And Duke was like, no.
but poor Duke, man, he's trying to help the cause. And I was like,
him.
he still is the dumb golden retriever boy. This is where I have my question, because Thea's kind of going like off into space in La La Land as this conversation is happening. And JC's like, girl, what are you doing? What are you thinking about? She's like, oh, nothing. I was like, are we thinking about a boy, Thea? I was like, do I need to become your protective dad? I'm like, who am I fighting out here? No one's good enough for you. No, I'm just kidding. But this was the only question I had. I was like, this is kind of coming out of left field. Like, what are we thinking about? Oh my gosh, what if she likes Duke? I'm like, listen.
Well, wasn't it... Wait, wasn't it directed at the kid that was speaking? Because isn't he one of the... Oh God, now my brain is leaving me.
I don't know, because I was just like, he's always in the segments, but we really haven't gotten more than just him appearing in the segments. But Thea was drooling Thea is drooling over him. I'm like, Thea, this is coming out of left field, girl. I was like, what is happening?
I thought that too. I was like, wait a minute. Because at first I was like, because you know how
JC was me. She's like, girl, what are we doing?
Yeah, they were showing him. He was the dark-haired kid.
You're right.
And they were kind of showing him in almost like a different filter. Sort of like that dreamy look. And then she was just like, and I was like, what is happening?
She got lost in the sauce. I was like, what is happening?
And I was like, are we about to introduce a new character into this group?
Plot twist.
Because I'm here for that. Absolutely.
Me too. But it was just kind of comes out of nowhere, especially in the context of what's going on. Is like, Chase U is on its last leg.
Oh, you know, like, oh.
I see a light bulb went off.
Tell me,
Will.
I can see Thea being all like googly-eyed at the new boy or whatever, and JC getting jealous.
It's like, my girlfriend. What? No.
Exactly. I see her like, I could see it. Oh my gosh. I could be like her, like, listen here, you stay away from her or I'll kick your ass.
Which we know JC can.
Absolutely.
Or, plot twist, like this is a setup because he, listen, me and Will are men of a certain age, and we can definitely say boys are trash sometimes.
Yeah,
like
boys are garbage.
I was like, boys are trash sometimes. So I'm thinking too, what if this turns into like Thea actually likes him? JC's not too sure about it, and then JC discovers he's being a dirtbag to Thea, and it's just like, I will kick yo. I would rather see that storyline than instead of the jealous archetype, be like, listen here, she is my bestie. And I was just like, let's further her and put her as a face. So it's like, I will beat your butt if you hurt Thea in any way possible.
I'd be here for that too. I'm here for that too.
I just want to see JC kick dudes' asses. Like, it doesn't matter what context.
Me too. I'm ready to see JC get back in the ring.
Same. Listen, this whole entire saga with Chase U has been a whirlwind. It has been messy, but it has been one of my favorite ridiculous segments. I was like, too. I don't care if they're like, this is stupid. I was like, but this is the best kind of stupid in professional wrestling.
Agreed.
I love this. But speaking of kicking asses, we get into the last chance match for the men. This match also kicked a lot of ass. So we had the final chant. We had the last chance qualifier for the men for Iron Survivor Challenge, which saw Carmelo Hayes, Eddie Thorpe, Joe Coffey, and Tyler Bate fight for the final spot. Listen, I was just like, again, just like a butcher, there was a variety of meat in that ring. You got your more leany and gainy meat. You have your smaller portions. You have shades of different colors in that ring. And I had to pause because before they even fought, I'm just looking at this. I was like drooling all over myself. I'm like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. But you know what? The thing I loved about this match is that Carmelo, to me, it felt like Carmelo was completely out of touch.
Oh my gosh, like he was getting his ass handed to it the whole entire match, and I'm like, that sounds right.
Yeah, I mean, it was so funny because I was like, he's been talking such a big game, and every time he gets in the ring, he gets his ass kicked, which I am here for because he needs it. But it's so funny. I watched him in the match, and I was like, wow, dude, you just can't fucking catch a break.
No. So, this match was a lot of fun. Carmelo was getting his ass handed to them.
Yeah, he was.
Everybody did an awesome job. At first, I was just like, well, Eddie didn't win. But then Tyler winning, I was like, you know what? I will take that as well.
I'll take that.
Our little strong boy, Tyler Bate, is going to Deadline. And honestly, he joins a pretty good crop of the men, too. Because it's him, Trick, Braun, Dijak, and who am I missing? Dijak, Braun. Oh, and Josh Briggs. Hello.
Briggs.
Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm excited for the women's, but this men's field that we have, I was just like, honestly, this is going to be such a good one. And I feel like this is how you do the brawl at the end, because as soon as Tyler wins, all the men come out and they start fighting, and Tyler's the last one left standing. I'm just like,
he's like, what's
Tyler's going to be a threat in this match. Tyler's going to be a threat. He's going to be a menace.
Oh my God. I know. And he dropped him. I mean, first, Braun speared, was it Trick and Briggs? Or
I think so, yeah.
Into the table, knocking all three of them out. and then Tyler just took care of everybody else. I was just like, and he was the only one standing. And I was like, what is this? Is this 50 Shades of, like, foreshadowing? What is this? Because I'm like, okay.
Honestly, I would not be mad if our strong little boy wins.
Yeah. That was great.
That was
great.
So let's wrap this up because we got 2 more segments and then we can get into our ratings and our predictions for Deadline. So backstage, Carmelo and Trick, we get the second half of the video. So we finally get the answer. Trick is like, bro, I saw that video. Just be honest with me. Was it you that tipped off Lexus? And so Carmelo's like, oh, hell no, bro. That's not what this is. But you know what? I'm going to handle business. And once again, Ava makes another match all of a sudden for Deadline. So it's going to be Carmelo versus Lexus. No stipulation, just they're going to fight it out. I was just like, okay. I mean, we figured that we were going to get this match, but now we got it officially announced on television in the NXT universe. So I was just like, Trick, baby, we need you to focus here because you got a big match heading into Deadline where the #1 contendership for the NXT Championship is on the line. I was like, do not let what's happening between you and Carmelo get in the way because this is a big break for you.
And I'm still worried. I'm still worried that Carmelo is going to screw something up for Trick. Like, again, like truly screw it up. And it's pissing me off. Like, in a good way. It's all pissing me off in a good way. Because I'm just like...
Drama.
Yeah, seriously. It's just like... Man. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
So then we head into our final segment of the evening. This face-to-face between Ilya and Baron. I gotta admit, while Baron Corbin on the mic is not necessarily my favorite, I think this back and forth is, I was like, now you made me invested into this match. Now, I was like, where has this Baron been the last couple of months? Because if this was the one we got for the whole entire time, I would have cared a little bit more. Because this is how you be a slimy sleazeball, but like not overstay your welcome. And Ilya is playing mind games too, because he wants to hit Baron Corbin so bad, and he's like, you know what? He's like, I'm just gonna be calm, and I am going to kill you at Deadline. Is essentially how this whole interaction went. Baron Corbin's trying to get a rise out of Ilya, and Ilya's not budging an inch and not letting him have it.
It was so intense. And I agree with you that if we had this Baron Corbin from the beginning, since I've been here, I would have been on board with him like 100%. Because this is a huge character shift for him. Because, you know, seeing him prior to this moment, it's been like, oh God, just shut up. Just shut up. Stop giving him the mic. Stop doing this. Please stop giving him promos. Stop it. And then this whole thing. And I'm thinking, well, maybe he just needed a rivalry. Maybe he needs to be somebody's nemesis. You know, because prior to this, he was nobody's nemesis. Everyone was just like, Baron, shut up. Go away. You know, he's like, oh, you guys, he was always speaking in general terms. But with Ilya, it is like, it's like personal. So that's why I'm like, ooh. Now I could get behind like the Bond villain Baron Corbin, where always trying to take Bond out, so he's always trying to take Ilya out. I'd be here for that. I would be like, absolutely, because whatever we got in this tonight and this tonight, I'm just like, where the fuck's that been? Because I needed this months ago, you know. So this whole exchange was just so good, and man, that hug at the end, man, and the look on Baron's face, I was just like
Ilya whispered, he's like, I'm gonna murder you. And
it was so, I mean, like, and I know it because we all know what Baron was trying to do. Baron was trying to get Ilya to lose,
a rise out of Ilya, yeah,
attack him. And when he like grabbed him and turned him around and just hugged him, and then
that's
he's like,
the scariest thing anybody can ever do.
So he had that intense look on his face, and he's like, the only
Hannibal Lecter is about to come out.
Yeah, like the only thing that can take the dragon down is the dragon himself.
I was like,
and the look on Baron's face was like, oh, I fucked up.
I was like, you're about to get your ass handed to you on Saturday, and I'm so excited.
I literally think that look on his face was like, oh, fuck, I just screwed myself.
It's like, oops.
Because you literally you awoken a sleeping
Mad Dragon is about to make his way to Deadline, and nobody's ready.
Oh my God. I think it's going to be so good. I
am so invested in this one little segment has me invested in probably what's gonna in this championship match, and I am ready for it. So before we go into predictions for Deadline really quickly, let's go into our ratings for this NXT. I'm gonna keep this short. I'm gonna give this a 7.5 out of 10. I think this was a pretty decent go-home show. I'm docking points not because of Wesley, because actually that kept it at a very high for me. But what took a lot of points off the board was the women's summit that we got, because that was a train wreck. And then the subsequent brawl that happened in the middle of Axiom and Nathan Frazier's match kind of took a lot of points off the board for me. But outside of that, everything else was pretty decent. So 7.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I'm about the same for the exact same reasons. I mean, it was very obvious. So I'll say about 7.5. The whole women's thing just blew it for me. I mean, yeah. I mean, honestly, it did. You're right. The Wesley thing actually kept me up high. I was like, this is great. And then even the Baron and Ilya thing, I was like, yeah. But then I thought back and I was like, my brain won't let it go. I was like, the women's summit thing, and I was just like, it just made the women look bad, and I hate that. So yeah, 7.5 out of 10. Boom.
Alrighty then. Well then, folks. So me and Will are not going anywhere anytime soon, because when you see us next, we will be giving you our predictions for Deadline. So make sure to stay tuned for that video. But we're going to say goodbye for our regular NXT review. So if you liked what you saw here, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Biconics Wrestling YouTube channel. Follow us all over the social medias for up-to-date notifications when reviews go live, as well as out-of-context clips. And make sure to follow us at the Biconics Wrestling Podcast, where all podcasts can be found on your favorite podcasting platform. We're pretty much everywhere. We're literally pimping ourselves out here everywhere. So all the boys here are easy, so you can find us anywhere. No pun intended. But thank you so much for tuning into this week's NXT. And remember, from myself and Will, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, stay biconic, you beautiful bastards. But don't go anywhere. We will be right back with our NXT deadline predictions.